Alright, so this is completely unscripted, as with everything that I do, not because I am professional or anything. It's more of I don't have time. This is just for fun. I don't really put in so much effort because honestly I just want to do a simple test. I've always been very curious about full frame versus micro four thirds and micro four thirds versus micro four thirds, mostly because these are the cameras available to me. So I work in a CGI studio. We do a lot of Razer commercials, some L'Oreal ads and some shampoo commercials. It's all CGI, but we do have a camera, and that is this camera, Sony A7IV, and it's full frame and it has this gigantic lens. This is a 24 to 105 f4, and since I bought a micro four thirds camera, not this one, the GH6 was the first one I bought for myself. I learned all about the crop, and 2.8 is not 2.8, 2.8 is 2.8 of light, but it's actually 5.6 in bokeh, depth of field, autofocus blur, blurry background. So, and then ever since then I've always wanted to do this comparison or a test between micro four thirds and full frame, and also how does the cinema micro four thirds compare to a prosumer micro four thirds. So I recently sold my GH6 and bought a G9 Mark II, and then I actually physically destroyed the microphones because I thought there was something wrong, something missing, so I tried to fix it and I actually destroyed the microphone. So I am on a journey to fix this by myself, by opening up the camera and then fixing the microphones. But ultimately what I wanted to do tonight was do a comparison between full frame versus micro four thirds versus cinema micro four thirds, whatever it is now. So right now I'm shooting on 35. Right now this is 35mm on a 24 to 105 f4. So on micro four thirds that would mean I have to shoot 17mm f2. That should equal the same. So right now we're on the Sony A7 Mark IV, and I'm actually wearing a cap that I found on a diving trip in the sea. Who cares? So this is what it looks like. This is everything, and it's also quite interesting to see how the white balance between different cameras is. So this is default 5600K. So I'm going to do the same thing on both cameras. I'm going to shoot at a full frame equivalent of 35mm f4. So this is the A7 IV, and all the audio is coming through a Holyland Max, I think. Alright, so how's it? Sony autofocus confirmed it's the best lah. The Blackmagic is going to lose. So that's it for this one, and then I'm going to change camera. Okay, now this is the G9 Mark II, also 35mm full frame equivalent f4. But on the G9 Mark II it is 35. It's 17mm f2. So actually it's a lot brighter than the full frame lens, just because micro four thirds, whatever lah. This because this lens, and I think it actually looks pretty cool. I'm wearing a hat because I didn't cut my hair and I'm balding and everything. So this is just to show off the cap that I found at the bottom of the ocean. I don't know what else there is to test. This is Lumix autofocus versus Sony. I don't think this is going to be as good as the Sony, but we can kind of generally see how it does like that. Nothing interesting happened today, so there's nothing to talk about. other than I brought home the studio's Sony camera and I wanted to do this test to see how it would look, how different it would look between full frame and Micro Four Thirds with everything on full frame equivalent. And also I wanted to see the difference between the image quality, and I totally forgot to make the white balance at 5600K, so I'm going to stop the recording. Oh, actually I can change it now. So this is at 55 and this is at 56, and now that's set, and I'm gonna reset the adjustments. So now this is 5600K, the same value as the Sony. It's white balance at 5600K, and that's because I want to see how each manufacturer has their white balance Kelvin set and what's the difference between them. So right now the Sony was, I think, technically underexposed because I don't think I exposed properly on the Sony, so that's not very fair. Right now I am perfectly exposed on Vlog, so I should go back to the Sony and expose to I think Sony needs it to be +2 or something like that. Like, I don't know why they have to make life so difficult. Like for Vlog, just do it at 0, and then for S-Log 3 +2. Like, what the fuck? Okay, so this is Micro Four Thirds, and then I am going to go back to the Sony to redo the exposure, and then we'll do a side-by-side comparison for whoever, I don't know who, myself. Right now I am at +2 EV exposure. I think that's apparently the last I understood as where you're supposed to expose for S-Log. It's not fantastic because the only way I can do this is by increasing the ISO. So right now I'm on ISO 2500, whereas on the G9 I was actually on ISO 500. Quite a big difference, but this is full frame, so maybe it's better. I don't know, but the lens is bloody heavy lah, compared to Micro Four Thirds where all the lenses are a lot smaller. Like this is full frame equivalent 24:120, and it's smaller than the size of my face. If you've seen the size of this lens, it is like that when it's not zoomed in. I am at 35 right now, but autofocus is damn good lah. Okay, so now I want to see the Blackmagic. This is at 5600K also. Yeah, so let's see what the Blackmagic looks like. And then after this, quite exciting, going to put it all on the computer and then we'll see how it looks together. Alright, so this is the most irritating setup to have. I cannot move because it's manual focus only, and I need to use a monitor so that I can actually see what's going on. It is totally not made for this kind of easy life. The Blackmagic is very difficult, just like how I am struggling to talk. I think not being able to freely move around and sway around the chair and swing around is definitely quite limiting for the brain to flow, or at least my brain to flow. So this is a very uncomfortable situation. I mean, it's not really very uncomfortable lah. It's just I'm not used to it. But perhaps, I mean, it feels like I'm at an interview and this camera is my interviewer, and he has one lens and he has the red light, the tally lamp, which feels a bit like a cyborg. So I am talking to the cyborg, and its name is Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K camera, Blackmagic ProRes 422, super cool something. Anyway, so same settings as the G9. Because it's a Micro Four Thirds sensor, it should technically be the same. Exposing at 35mm full frame equivalent, at f4 full frame equivalent, but Micro Four Thirds is f2, ISO 500, shot on ProRes 422 on the Blackmagic 4K pocket cinema camera with the Holyland microphone, blah blah blah. That's what it is, and I just want to see how all of this compares in resolve, and then we'll come back so that I can make some more useless comments about this setup, this comparison that leads nowhere. Maybe it's entertaining for some people, but it's definitely going to be entertaining for me making this thing, because that's what I want to do. So now I'm going to download all the clips, and then we'll see. Blackmagic autofocus is definitely terrible because it doesn't work. So I have looked at all the shit that I shot, and it actually looks mostly all the same. The colors are actually quite good on all of them, and when you use a lens with an equivalence to the full frame counterpart, it really looks very similar, to the point that you don't need a full frame camera. I'm actually very happy with the G9 Mark II's image, and I actually think it's the most color accurate based on the white balance of all of them being at 5600K. The Blackmagic is, I think the color on the Blackmagic is the deepest, if that makes any sense, and the Sony is the thinnest. Like the colors on the Sony feel like it's just in front. The colors happen to be just on the surface of everything, and I don't know how to explain, it just feels thin, and the Blackmagic feels a lot thicker. The saturation is deeper. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's just how I feel. And I think the Panasonic is in the middle of both of them, and surprisingly V-Log is very, very accurate. Sony is like still somewhat like desaturated yellow, pale, something like that. It's just very thin, and the Blackmagic is not accurate at all, at least for this Pocket Cinema 4K. My room is not that yellow, so the color is a bit off, but the saturation is nice. And I think Panasonic is actually, the Lumix G9 Mark II is actually pretty good. I like it. I'm happy. But overall, all of them really almost kind of look the same. So how I'm currently processing the word, putting the thing, I don't use any LUTs. If you set up the project with color management, you let DaVinci Resolve handle all the conversions. So you simply set it to the working space as HDR or Asus or DaVinci Wide Gamut, and then your output color space is Rec 709, and then after that you just select your clips and you choose the input color space accordingly. So if you were shooting Sony, you choose Sony S-Gum3, Cine S-Log3, whatever the long name is. For Panasonic, you choose Panasonic V-Log, and for Blackmagic, you choose Blackmagic Design Film 5 in this case. And all the clips convert based on their own color science and their own technical transforms, whatever it is. There's no LUTs, and it transforms itself into DaVinci Wide Gamut or whatever HDR or Asus timeline working space you've decided on, and then DaVinci Resolve will then automatically convert that into your monitor, which is Rec 709, and then you don't have to deal with LUTs. I think that works, and I'm quite happy with today's exploration of full frame versus micro four thirds versus micro four thirds. So that's it. I think I should be sleeping now. It's 11 p.m. and gosh, I have no idea why you watched this, but thank you for watching. Bye bye.